kitchen. We never know what we're cooking up. So this episode of Matthew's Hot Kitchen, we're going to make a stew that'll go with our Persian rice.
My favorite.
It's everybody's favorite, I think. It's called Ghormeh Sabzi.
Ghormeh Sabzi.
Yes, and if you would like to follow along, we're using a recipe off a Persian website. And you can see in red lettering there, Ghormeh Sabzi. And this is off the FAE website, FAE magazine. And just search on it and Ghormeh Sabzi stew. And by the way, this is a picture of what it will eventually look like.
So for the vegetarian people, we're sorry, we're using meat today.
Okay, so Ghormeh Sabzi literally means stew of greens in Farsi. Okay. So it's actually mostly greens. Chives, parsley, a unusual green called fenugreek. It's all fried together with a little bit of olive oil and garlic and a few other goodies in there, which we'll show you. But that, when it gets into with the rice, has a very good mixture, and it's very savory, very healthy flavor for you. And what the Persians do is they put in stew meat, like ground shuck, to complement it. You don't have to put in ground shuck in yours if you're vegetarian, or if you're a real connoisseur of Ghormeh Sabzi, which I like to think I am. If you're going to do this, if you're going to do it and video it, you're going to go full throttle and get Australian lamb. Look at that. Just so that's going to be part of what we accompany. That's going to be the meat in our.
So since you start talking about the ingredients, why don't you introduce the ingredients?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So normally, so you can use, so our herbs are going to be, you can get them fresh and chop them up, clean them. But actually in Iran, a woman who hasn't been married off yet is judged by her ability to clean green vegetables like that quickly and efficiently. And if she's good at it, she would make a good wife. So
more desirable. More
desirable wife. So this goes back to culture. You can get these greens dried. That's if you don't get them fresh. So the greens are parsley, flat chives, fenugreek, and an option is turmeric. So here's the turmeric.
No, that's coriander. No?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cilantro.
Cilantro.
AKA cilantro.
Cilantro. So that's an optional spice to put in it. And a third thing you can do, this is actually probably the best if you're lucky, is if you have a Middle Eastern store near where you live, you can get it frozen. And this company here makes it frozen. And all the herbs are sauteed already, seasoned, and it's all ready to go. So it makes it a lot easier. And then if you want to add the cilantro, you can. I reconstituted this with water overnight in the refrigerator.
So this was dry?
This was dry.
But you can use fresh? You
can use fresh cilantro if you want. But likewise, you can do everything fresh. You're going to have a hard time finding the fenugreek.
Yeah.
So you probably have to get that dried or ordered it online.
What are the other ingredients?
Okay. The other ingredients probably are kidney beans. You can use them dried, soak them overnight, or canned kidney beans. Now,
that's fine.
My father pointed me out that it doesn't really matter, and actually canned kidney beans are a whole lot more convenient. Persian dried, or just dried limes.
Yeah, it makes big difference.
If you don't have this, don't even try. This is going to be. It's going to have a very strong power of dried lime, and in fact, there is a seasoning called dried lime seasoning, powdered dried lime that you use to adjust the seasoning. And finally, the turmeric here. That'll be part of it. We have there's some garlic. So anyways. And then the one secret ingredient, which is optional to put in, and that's saffron.
Saffron, yes.
To put into the actual Ghormeh Sabzi. Anyway, this all blends together, makes a very nice medley of flavor, and it'll complement the meat, and it will blend well into the Persian rice. And
yes, yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've overeaten on this. So this and a few others are my favorite, but I think this one, if you really twisted my arm and say which is your favorite, this is probably my favorite.
By the way, the reason you're doing Persian food is you need to tell your family background.
Oh yeah, my father's from Iran, and when I was growing up, his father and his mother would come and visit us, and they would cook Persian food here in the States, and I got used to it.
And your aunt Patty was a wonderful, wonderful chef.
The oldest aunt she was very gifted in maybe in cleaning the vegetables. Who knows? That made her very desirable as a wife.
She made a Ghormeh Sabzi from scratch, and it was so good.
Yeah. So in some ways, this reminds me of her, and certainly my grandmother and my father is still. Is with us, and he helps give me some guidance.
Great. Okay,
all right, so let's get started. We're going to start by browning the lamb. And again, we've got these beautiful lamb shanks. I'm not going to skimp on the oil. I use avocado oil. You can use olive oil. Turn this on to high. So we're just going to brown these for a few minutes and give a nice dark coating on the outside. And the concept is, after they're browned nicely, we're going to stew it with the herbs later. So I think the first step is to get the meat browned. Good old avocado oil has a very high smoking point, so it'll be ready a little sooner than the smoking point, I believe, than other oils like olive oil. Okay, I'm starting to see some shimmering and shaking in the pan, so I think we're ready to go. This level of browning looks pretty good. All right. That's about good. So now that we have the lamb seared, I'm going to prepare the vegetables and take a quick break and come back and we'll saute the vegetables. Before we saute the vegetables, we need to take care of one thing, very important. These dried limes. We need to soak them, and they need to be soaked for 2 hours. Woo! Smells really nice. So these dried limes, we need to poke with the tines of a fork in at least 3 places. I don't know if you do. That's 1. Just poke them all 4 times. 2, 6. And then we're going to pour hot water onto them. And they seem to float, but hopefully they're going to sink after a while. And it's best for the 2 hours to change the water a few times. My guess is that gets rid of some of the real bitterness from them and allows a little bit more of the fruit savory flavor to come out. So this has to be done for 2 hours, so it's good to get this done in advance. And we'll come back and saute the vegetables. Okay, we're back. This time I have my assistant Kamiko to help me. We're going to, in this step, for the Ghormeh Sabzi, we're going to saute the vegetables, which is onion and garlic. Let's get the burner going. So half and half.
Okay.
And a tip from the website, and my own personal tip, is don't be afraid to brown these too well. I mean, it's good to brown them a little bit more than maybe a delicate sauce. This comes later. Garlic, if you saute it too much, it'll get bitter. So if anything, don't brown the garlic. Just let's get the onions nice and brown. Same thing with the meat that we just sauteed. You don't want to, you do want to brown it as well as you can. This is going to add flavor. This stew has a very aggressive, tangy flavor. Savory and tangy. Yeah. So everything else is just going to be overwhelmed. No subtleties here. So this was, for this double batch, we're using should be 2 medium-sized onions. The ones I got were kind of large, so maybe a little bit more onion in it than normal. It should be okay. And we're using the same pans we used to saute the lambs in. Website says don't do that, but I do it anyway.
Why not?
Yeah. The website's kind of funny. They're real strict. Don't substitute anything. Like a lot of Ghormeh Sabzis, they substitute spinach.
Yeah.
And when I'm growing up, we always had frozen spinach in our freezer so we could make it. And it's good. It works. But this recipe really insists on using other herbs. The fenugreek, the chives, the parsley, and the cilantro. So.
Burner is high, right?
Yeah, let's get these brown. This is the avocado oil, so it stands up pretty well. You know, when a recipe says don't make substitutions, period, it's probably a good one.
Oh, really?
I think so.
You like the strict recipe?
No. But when they've got it down right and they know what they're doing, they'll say things like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's not too many recipes that say no substitutions are allowed. and don't go onto Wikipedia and look for substitutes for fenugreek or chives or parsley. Those, you really need to get the right one. And maybe spinach you can add as a filler. Again, I've been growing up, but if you really want it done right, you want to use the real thing. Now that level of brown is something I would probably go with for most things. So that's kind of medium. So let's get a little bit more.
A little more. Okay.
What a nice thing to do on a rainy day like this.
Very rainy.
This is early April 2020, and we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic lockdown. So
this is the day 20 of lockdown.
Day 20. So
3 weeks almost.
This is one of my videos we made during the lockdown. I think we might add the.
Shall I turn it down?
No. Let's add about half the.
Okay.
And mix it well.
Okay.
And
all right.
About a minute.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a minute. You don't go longer than that, otherwise garlic gets a very bitter flavor. Now, if we were doing single batch, we'd probably do this all in one pot. Do it in the pot we're going to stew in, but we're not. But we have to break it up a little bit like this. Okay, here's our stew pot.
So put it over here?
Go ahead and start filling it up. Garlic should smell nice.
It does.
Aromatic when it's about a minute into the frying. Now the website says, doesn't say minced garlic, whole garlic. Doesn't say anything, just says garlic cloves. So I just can't remember a Ghormeh Sabzi with whole garlic. I guess you could, but I minced it.
I want to put some liquid and lift it up, all the bits.
You could do that. You can use my wooden spoon if you want. And you can use the liquid here.
Yeah. Thank you, that's fine.
On my burner, and we're going to start adding it.
Can I pour this too?
Yep.
Woo!
Wooden spoon, please. This wasn't on the recipe, so we're deviating.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the recipe umpires will be after me soon. Okay. So now that we have all the onions and garlic sauteed, we're going to start adding the other herbs and aromatics. So first, this is a teaspoon and a half of or a quarter of salt. This is about a half teaspoon of pepper, granulated pepper. Mm-hmm. Finally, the turmeric, which I got confused with cilantro. I don't know why. Yeah, so when you're on camera, you're always nervous. No, I'm not going to turn the heat on yet. I'm just going to mix for now. And then important is to get some good quality bay leaves, 5 or 6 of these. Again, this is a double batch, so otherwise you'd be using 2 or 3. Okay. And then the secret ingredient is saffron water. So you make this by grounding about an 1/8 or 1/16 of a teaspoon of saffron and pour about a tablespoon of boiling water in it. And it makes this beautiful color and once it sits. But
flavor, wonderful flavor.
It adds a certain complexity to the stew. It's optional, but the website said you could do it, so I'm going to do it. I've got the saffron to do it.
We like good saffron.
Okay, so that, and then next we're going to start placing our meat in there.
Oh wow!
Hopefully you can fit this. Maybe put the smaller ones on the edge.
Oh my gosh, does it fit?
We may have a problem. We have to break this up or something.
Oh. Bigger pot?
Well, I need the big pot for the rice.
Oh.
I need the biggest pot possible for the rice. So we're going to try to make this work somehow. Yeah. And next is adding water. So let's start adding water. And we want to add it so it covers the meat.
I think it'll do.
I think we're close. Close enough we can kind of stir it and turn it. I've got a little bit more water here. This is a stew. It's very forgiving, so you can keep it stewing and concentrating over time. It's about as high as I'll go because we've still got to add our green herbs in later.
Oh yeah.
So let's get this thing going. We'll bring it to a boil first, and then we'll let it simmer for about an hour and a quarter. Since this is double batch, we probably should go a little bit longer, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
But I'm going to cover it. And we'll see you in about an hour and a half or so. Hi, welcome back to Ghormeh Sabzi. So here's our pot of stew.
After 90 minutes, 2 hours, 90 minutes.
Yeah, over an hour. Now, if you notice, I changed the pot. So this is...
It's covered.
Yeah, because I have to add more ingredients in it, and we don't have any more room. So I switched from a 7 to an 8-quart pot. Okay, see, it's nicely stewed in there.
Okay.
I also removed the bay leaves.
Okay.
So now we're going to start assembling the final stew. So we have these 2 cans of kidney beans. These have been rinsed in water. And then we're going to start adding the fried sabzi that we got from the market.
Fried sabzi means fried herbs.
Fried herbs, and again, the fried herbs are parsley, chives, and fenugreek, and a little bit of turmeric in there because it's been pre-fried.
Ooh.
You see how green this is?
I can almost eat as it is.
So if we didn't have frozen, we would be frying these ourselves, either from rehydrated dried herbs or fresh herbs.
If you want it.
Yeah. Gotta be careful not to spill any of these.
Precious herbs.
Okay, next one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And last but not least.
How about this cilantro?
Oh yeah. So this cilantro was not fried, it was not frozen. I rehydrated it from dried. Gives a little bit more complexity, a little bit of interest. Okay. You kind of see how thick and green it is already. Of course, we're gonna mix it up with the stew down below. And then last but not least, these limes have been sitting around for a little over 2 hours. They've been poked with a fork. And I put hot boiling water in them. I put a bowl on top to push them down. And I've done it a few times. Exchange the water. And I think it's to, I think that now I understand the exchanging of the water is to reduce the potency of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, every time I came over here, it was overwhelming the aroma. So I think it's to settle them down because you want to be able to eat these things, actually. To tear them up in the stew and eat part of them. Okay. And if it's too strong, you can't do it. And you don't want to overpower the stew with dried lime. If we're underpowered, we have this dried lime powder over there, which we can adjust. So I think that's the intention of this technique. This is a lot of Ghormeh Sabzi, but you can never have too much Ghormeh Sabzi.
I'm just getting worried about your stomach. You'll be feasting on this.
Okay, so anyway, so we're gonna have to let this simmer on medium-low for about an hour and a half.
Another 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think the meat is cooked. It almost was coming off the bone, so I don't want to cook it too much. I just want to simmer it very lightly. And the instructions call for another quart of water. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to fit another quart of water in there.
And it's pretty nice consistency right now.
Yeah, we got to let it mix up a bit more, and then we'll see. But it should be, it shouldn't be pasty. It shouldn't be watery, runny. It should be kind of a little tiny bit watery, but it should hold together pretty well as you spoon it out. So.
Look at all the limes, dried limes popping up.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to add a little bit of water.
Okay.
I think we want to cover it a little bit better.
Sure.
And we can always just stew it down and concentrate it. But I got a funny feeling it's a little too pasty.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's about as much as I can hold.
Gosh, Persian cuisine is pretty elaborate.
Well, this is a simple method.
No way.
We didn't have to fry the herbs or prepare the herbs.
That's right. That's right.
So I like it better this way. This way I can concentrate on also making the rice, which we've started making over here.
Well, I guess it just takes time, you know, but I guess it's in between the chopping and the prep work is not too much, but it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, it takes a Sunday afternoon.
but it's worth it. It's worth it.
It makes the house smell nice, and but yes, it is very much worth it. And the other thing you can do is the stew is best cooked the day before.
Oh, yeah.
And put it in the refrigerator and then bring warm.
Following day.
It melds the ingredients and flavors in together better. So yeah, this is best made the day before if you can do it. Otherwise, it's not too bad. It makes good leftovers. Okay, so we'll come back when it's ready for eating later.
Okay, let's take a coffee break.
Okay, so the Gourmeh Sabzi's been stewing for around an hour and a half.
So the first 90 minutes and second 90 minutes and added the herbs and then stewed another 90 minutes, so a total of 3 hours.
Right, in the meantime we finished our rice, saffron garnish, and our tahdig. So let's taste the Gourmeh Sabzi and see if we need to adjust. A little oily stuff on the top.
Oh.
It may be from the lamb. Okay, it needs some adjustments. Tastes a little bit too much like spinach, and we need a little extra tang in it.
We do.
So we're going to add this dried lime.
And maybe, does it have salt?
No, we should probably add a little bit of salt and get this thing adjusted a bit.
All right.
Okay, taste test.
Nice.
Okay.
Herby and rich.
Herby, rich, tangy.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be the trademark of it. And then it's okay if it's a little soupy. It can't be a paste. It can't be all runny. It's gonna. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to serve some up here.
Oh, okay.
So let's get a plate. And so the first thing we do is we put some rice out. Let's get a little bit of saffron rice. And I need to grab
Oh my goodness.
the lamb shank
Oh my
there.
goodness. Wow.
And the Khoresh goes on top of the rice. And then we can't forget tahdig.
Crisping up.
Let's crispy him up.
So this is the final outcome
Yeah.
of Persian rice and Ghormeh Sabzi.
It's got a little runniness to it, but rice should absorb some of that. So, practice makes perfect. This is probably my second time making Gourmeh Sabzi.
Oh.
And third or fourth time making the rice. So you adjust as you learn. And so, anyway, but it should, let's taste.
Spoon, spoon, spoon.
So you need a fork and a spoon to eat this properly. So, supposed to use the spoon to scoop the rice and Khoresh. Okay.
I'm going to have a little bit of lamb too.
Yeah. The Gourmeh Sabzi is delightful. And try the lamb with it.
This is a very unique flavor. I don't really, you don't really have this in French or Chinese or Japanese or American cuisine. You have to have it until you know it. Good.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Wow. I wish we could invite everyone over. But it's
good job.
It's lockdown, coronavirus quarantine. So we're not able to invite the neighbors over or any of our good friends, but
We'll be thinking about you.
We'll be thinking maybe we can make a care package tomorrow.
Yeah, to our friends.
So this will definitely taste better tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The rice can be reheated with a little bit of water or butter or mixture in the microwave, and it all comes back together. And this can last quite a while as leftovers. So anyway, so one of my favorite Persian dishes of all time, Ghormeh Sabzi. We have the polo, or rice, that we cooked, that we brought it together, and the tadik, which it's almost sweet like candy. It's really delightful. So these are things I grew up with, and I've learned how to make. Maybe not perfect yet, but at least
it's pretty darn good.
But this is I'm going to be eating quite late tonight. Here, so
from
Matthew's Hot Kitchen.
We're thinking all of you stay safe and stay healthy.
And once again, Matthew's Hot Kitchen, where you never know what we're cooking up. Bye-bye.